They say the truth will set you free, but they never mention that first it's gonna make you feel like you're drowning. We all like to think of ourselves as the good guys. We won the big war, we saved the world, and we built the future. We look at the 20th century like it's a shiny trophy on the shelf. But I'm here to tell you that the trophy is hollow, and if you shake it, you can hear the bones rattling inside. See, we didn't just win the war, we looted it. We didn't just defeat the monsters, we gave them a job, a new name, and a seat at our dinner tables. We traded justice for a faster rocket and a deadlier nerve gas. And here's the jagged pill: you, me, we're all living in the house they helped build. If you've ever looked at a satellite photo, used a life support system, or benefited from modern trauma medicine, you're using the dividends of a crime that was never punished. Tonight, we're talking about the 1% handshake. We're talking about Operation Paperclip and the men we brought home to protect us, men who had already mastered the art of the grave. I'm Randy Libby, and it's time to decode the folder. You know, they teach us in school that justice is a straight line, that right is right and wrong is wrong. We are told that crime doesn't pay, and we try to pass that lesson on to our children. But history has a very different set of books. When the stakes are high enough, when the power is centralized, crime doesn't just pay. It buys you a legacy. It buys you a seat at the head of the table. In 1945, the government found a way to launder the darkest souls on earth because we wanted their high-tech brains. We took the men who ran the slave tunnels, men with blood on their hands and ice in their veins, and we didn't put them on trial. We put them in a suit. They scrubbed the record clean, pinned a single paperclip to a new folder, and turned the world's most wanted criminals into the world's most celebrated heroes. Let's look at the faculty of the Shadow Academy. First, you have Werner von Braun. He was the star pupil, an SS officer. We put him on the wonderful world of Disney to be Uncle Werner. He never mentioned his real accomplishment in Germany, overseeing the production of the V-2 rocket in a mountain where men lived in oil barrels and died in the mud. He left 20,000 souls in that tunnel, worked to death. More people died building his dream than were ever killed by the rockets hitting their targets. Next to him was Arthur Rudolph, project director of the Saturn V moon rocket. This was the man who was the production manager at that very same slave labor factory. We normalized a man who viewed human life as a planned obsolescence. And it wasn't just about the physics of rockets. We wanted the chemistry of death too. We brought over the plague master, Kurt Blome. He was the head of the Nazi biological weapons program. He experimented with plague, anthrax, and cholera on prisoners. He stood trial at Nuremberg and walked away, not because he was innocent, but because the US Army Chemical Corps had a job opening. We brought him to Camp Detrick and asked him how to turn the natural world into a weapon. Look at the faces in those tunnels. It wasn't just one group. It was an international graveyard of French resistance fighters, Soviet POWs, Polish academics, Italian soldiers, and Jewish families. To the men we hired, those people weren't citizens, they were fuel. The history books play a shell game. They'll tell you Kurt Blome wasn't technically Paperclip. They call it Project 63 or Project Overcast. But it's the same crime. We didn't just go over there to stop the killing. We benefited from it. Every time a Saturn V cleared the launch pad, it was lifted by the ghosts of those men who died in the mud. We took the data from the freezing experiments and the decompression chambers, and we tucked it into our own medical journals. This wasn't a one-time deal. The handshake fueled the machinery of the Korean War in Vietnam. Who do you think helped us refine the nerve agents like sarin and VX gas? The chemist from IG Farben, the same ones who fueled the camps. In the 50s and 60s at Edgewood Arsenal, we didn't just use the old data. We started making our own. Under the guidance of these imported experts, we tested LSD and nerve agents on over 7,000 of our own American soldiers. We did to our own boys what the Paperclip scientists had done to the prisoners in the 40s. When you treat people like data points instead of human souls, it doesn't matter what flag they fly. We traded our national soul for a chemical edge and a faster rocket. If justice is only for the people who aren't useful, then the law is just a fence built to keep the small fry in while the sharks swim wherever they want. We didn't just bring their scientists here, folks. We brought their darkness, and now we're the ones left holding the folder. I'm Randy Libby, this has been the main truth. Two sets of books for the history man, one for the classroom, one for the hand. We opened the gates at the end of the line, then invited the wolves inside to dine. Scrubbed off the SS pinned on the clip, gave them a paycheck and a brand new ship. From the mud of the tunnels to the Florida sand, the devil got hired by the promised land. Is a silver clip on a black ink file, trading the truth for a technicolor smile. We're reaching for stars on a ladder of bone, built by the monsters we brought to our home. Yeah, the handshake's cold and the ink is wet. We're living on the dead, we ain't paid yet. Uncle Werner's on the TV screen, pointing to the moon, keeping it clean. But the shadow he casts is 20,000 deep in the mountain of ghosts that'll never sleep. And Blooms in the lab with a petri dish, granting the generals every dark wish. Plaguing the water, gas in the air, the American dream in the Nazi chair. They say it was needed, they say we had to win. But how do you wash the fabric when the blood is woven in? From the hills of Korea to the Mekong mud, the fruit of the tree is tasting like blood. It's a silver clip on a black ink file, trading the truth for a technicolor smile. We're reaching for stars on a ladder of bone, built by the monsters we brought to our home. Yeah, the handshake's cold and the ink is wet. We're living on a dead, we ain't paid yet. Keep your eyes on the folder, keep your ears on the wire. The truth don't burn, but it sure does catch fire.